Hello and welcome to Nelson All Over Cards. My name is Nelson, and today we are going to be talking about multiplayer Marvel Champions. I've been really enjoying playing more two-handed plays in multiplayer recently, and while I do think that solo is probably still my preferred way to play, having two heroes at the table can really open up some cool synergies that we just don't get with one hero. So in this video, I'm going to go through my top 5 pairs, Marvel Champion hero pairs that I enjoy and would recommend that you all try, especially if you have not tried two-handed before, because I do think that it is worth trying. Now, we're just going to dive right into it with number 5, and this one did come from a game that Villain Theory and I did at one point. This is going to be Star-Lord and Quicksilver. These were both our favorite heroes at the time. I think Domino has kind of usurped Quicksilver, but I think Star-Lord is still Villain Theory's favorite. Now this is basically going to require Star-Lord to bring Honorary Guardian for Quicksilver, and then we're going to abuse Blaze of Glory, giving the newly Guardian traded Quicksilver +2/+2, and then with how frequently Quicksilver can ready, you can get some major damage output from this combo. And if you want extra shenanigans, you can run Quicksilver in a repurpose build for even more readying and bonuses for that attack with discarding that tech. So it's insane, it's a lot of fun, and it kind of shows how you can bring Honorary Guardian. You can throw it on a character that you normally would not be able to play. Like Quicksilver in solo, you cannot play Honorary Guardian, but if you bring it with a Guardian character, you can play Honorary Guardian on the Avenger that is Quicksilver, and then open up all the Guardian synergies. So this is kind of just like the crux of why I have been enjoying two-player or multi-handed so much, is you are basically, in the way that I'm thinking about it, building an 80 card deck for the two heroes to symbiotically exist on the table at the same time. If you do try this Blaze of Glory build with Quicksilver and Star-Lord, let me know how much damage you can get out of a turn. I would not be surprised if we can break 100 in a single turn if we get all those stars to align, because with Blaze of Glories, with repurposes, with just, it's insane. You could also run Quicksilver in pool with like laser swords. That's something that's also could be kind of fun to try. So let me know. Also, as we're going through the list, if you have a favorite pair that you like, let me know down in the comments, because I really am looking forward to some incredible synergies out there. Number 4 comes to us from our mutant cycle. This is going to be Iceman and Cyclops. Now, Iceman is a great support character. We can debuff enemies basically to infinity, but that's not why this team up is going to be so much fun. Frostbites, which are the upgrades that Bobby kind of revolves around, are upgrades that can satisfy the requirement for Cyclops' optic blast ability. And so while we can double up with some of Scott's upgrades and feel really powerful, right? We're throwing practice defense out there with Frostbite, so now the villain's basically not attacking. We are never locked out of his ability when we do so, because if we can trigger the Frostbite ability or the freeze ability and put Frostbites on the villain, we don't have to draw into or hope that we have a upgrade for Scott to use the optic blast. Now, a lot of the times I have to make the decision in solo if I'm going to play that upgrade or if I'm going to use that upgrade for a resource. And a lot of the times it is probably, it's really nice to use those upgrades as resources, because then we're going to be able to put allies out, which is what Cyclops really wants to do, right? Because he can bring allies from all over. Now we can put them onto the table, and we don't have to make that decision. We have a upgrade that can attached to the villain, which means that we can abuse that optic blast. We're probably playing that Ruby Quartz Visor very early so that we can just get consistent damage at that point. It also works for any minion. So if we have like a Ice Blast or something like that, and we've put upgrades out everywhere, we can use our full blast, full. Why am I having a hard time? The major attack that Cyclops has, giving him overkill. It's really cool. Now you can run either of these heroes in pretty much any aspect, and this team up is going to work. But if you're not bringing one of these heroes with aggression to the table, make sure that you grab Shark Girl and Glob with Scott's deck building ability to capitalize on the new upgrade focused allies and get even more output out of having those Frostbites or Scott's upgrades on the villains. Now number 3 is just like pure cheese. This borderline breaks the game, but that can also be a ton of fun. It's Nova and Vision. So what we're going to do is we're going to exploit this pair by using Vision's ability to gather minions and sit in intangible form and not take any damage. Then Nova is going to unleash the Nova Force and be able to take out every single one of those minions. So with the minions sitting there, we can take them all out, and every single time we do, we're going to get to draw a card and ready Nova, which allows us to ready the Nova for or the Nova helmet, bringing us another use out of that resource generator. So you're going to end up with like 15 cards in hand, and then you basically just win. It's an incredible time. I would recommend running Vision and Aggression so that we can run cards like Looking for Trouble and Angela to bring out minions, and then also bring a combat training for Nova, because that one attack, we kind of want to have a little bit higher attack, especially if we are going to be just hitting every single time and taking out all the minions. And speaking of Nova, he can pretty much run any aspect, but I would recommend Protection. Mainly we get more readies, but also we can bring Pin Down in case we run into like a bigger minion we need to lock down that the intangible form can't take care of, because Vision only reduces the attack by 2. So if you run into something that has a higher attack, we can throw Pin Down on that enemy, and now Vision's just not taking any damage, because the build can kind of fall apart if Vision needs to go flip into Dense or flip down to Alter Ego to heal. So I would make sure to bring a Symbiote suit for Nova, because who doesn't want more attack? And I will say that this combo also does work if you want to swap Nova out for like Thor or Valkyrie. The Asgard heroes do love beating up minions, and this combo can be really strong between the two of them as well. And so actually this combo can be pretty strong regardless, but I would say that those 3 heroes really can capitalize on Vision's intangible side. Number 2 is Insane, and actually kind of what inspired this video. And this is actually one that I would recommend that you try out, especially if you have not played a ton of multiplayer or two-handed, because I think this really opens up a hero that feels a little bit more limited in solo play, which is Rogue. And we're gonna pair her with Storm. So now Rogue is one of those heroes that shines with more heroes at the table. So she had to make this list somewhere. I needed to put Rogue on this list because I wanted to show how much she can expand in multiplayer. But when you pair her with Storm, things can get really crazy, because Storm can give her extra abilities Rogue needs to get the most out of her events. So let's take a look at Southern Cross, for example. For 3 costs, we're dealing 6 damage. And then if Rogue has Aerial, 2 extra damage, Retaliate, we get to stun the enemy, and then Stalwart, we get to draw a card. So typically we're getting these abilities by putting touched on different characters or different entities on the board, but Storm can give Rogue either Stalwart with Clear Skies and Retaliate, I guess, or Retaliate with Hurricane when she's manipulating the weather. So my challenge to you is get all of the bonuses with a Southern Cross or go in Rogue card play. And one way we can do this is run Rogue in Protection with Dauntless to get the Retaliate, and then throw touched on an ally for Aerial, let Storm manipulate the weather into Clear Skies, and now our 3-cost Southern Cross is dealing 8 damage, stunning the enemy, and drawing a card. And that's some incredible efficiency. And it just really shows how this game can open up with more heroes at the table. Now, for the last one, and I probably should have said this earlier, this is in no particular order, but I will say that this last one does encapsulate my favorite hero to play in two-handed, and if you look through the two-handed plays I have on the channel, you'll probably notice that, because Cable is in like probably 30% of my two-handed plays, and I just like kind of realized that. I was like, huh. Anyways, but Cable plus anyone is going to be really good. Cable helps heroes set up so quickly, and he is a great support hero. I love him with Quicksilver, I love him with Cyclops, and so many other heroes that have already made this list, but I tried to keep this list so that one hero could only make it one time, and so I'm going to pair him with a core set hero, Ironman. Ironman has an incredible late game presence, and Cable can accelerate him to that state so quickly. So we can use cards like Superpower Training to get any piece of his armor out. Build support can get Pepper onto the table, which is one of the better resource generators in the game. You can run Lock and Load, and Iron Man can grab a basic plasma pistol, which is also a tech, which helps his hand size. And Cable can manage a lot of the threats while giving the Tony the time he needs to build up. And while I do think that there are more powerful combos you can run with Cable, This is a great pair because you get to experience a side of the game that we miss out a lot in solo, which is sitting in alter ego to build. Because in solo, we typically have to flip up. We don't necessarily have the luxury to sit down in alter ego and build, and we don't want to lose the game to threat. But in two player, especially with this pair allows us to take advantage of higher threat caps, which is double in solo, which is significant, and let Tony sit in alter for like 2 to 3 turns while Cable just kind of deals with everything. Cable can hit the ground running very quickly, let Tony build, and yeah, it's awesome. I would probably run Cable in Justice here, or potentially Leadership with an X-Force Flood. I think Justice is a little bit quicker. X-Force, you probably want the Uncanny X-Force card, and that just requires a little bit more building. And if we are going to be sitting in Alter Ego and Tony is not going to have a huge impact in the early game, you probably want Cable to hit the ground running, and you can do that with Leadership. It's just a little bit harder than Justice, so I'd probably go with Justice. I would grab Superpower Training with his setup ability so that Iron Man can start building that suit. I would probably grab either the Mark 6 armor. I don't love that upgrade, but it is the most expensive one. Or I would grab the, not the helmet, the arc reactor, the one that's going to allow us to ready. And then also I would note that this strategy concept works really well with other build heroes. I want to call out SPDR explicitly here. I do think SPDR builds a little bit faster than Tony does, so this combo really highlights how well Cable can help support his partners at the table. But if you are not like an Iron Man fan, try it with Spider. It's awesome. So let me know what your favorite pairs are down in the comments. I look forward to hearing about some cool new synergies. And if you try any of these pairs, let me know how they go. And I'm excited. I kind of avoided two-handed for a while, but I'm glad that I've broken into it because it's a whole nother way to play the game. And so if you do try them, let me know. Let me know how it goes. And until next time, I hope you have fun playing some Marvel Champions, and we'll see you around. Peace.